What is up, guys? In this tutorial we're going to be doing a graduated scissor cut with floppy curly curtains and a skin taper and a beard trim. So the first thing we're going to do in this tutorial is figure out where we're going to map our sections for the hair to choose the best part to block off where the top is going to be with the curtains and where we're going to build our graduation on the side. So if I lift this part of Shiv's hair up here, you can see that on this side the hair kind of wants to spring forward, but usually where on the other side it would grow forward, his hair actually springs forward on this side too. So these are the things we're going to have to take into consideration when we are building our weight with the scissor work, because we're going to need to build enough weight to counteract how much it actually wants to spring forward again, whilst also taking it short enough around here and at the back to get our taper into it. There's one there. So we're going to soak all the hair completely and groom it all back and just look for any growth patterns and any splits in the hair that we can actually use to work with. Obviously on this kind of haircut the crown isn't as important because we're going to be building quite a lot of length around the crown area, so it's probably going to counteract the kind of natural springiness of the crown, but what we do have to take into consideration is the head shape. So we actually have quite a sudden angle here where it goes from the flat on the top of the head and he's got this kind of flatter kind of area around the crown as well. So this is where we're going to actually have to build the correct amount of weight so that this is all meeting out the same with the graduation, but also so that we're going short enough down here to clip her into at the bottom. Right, so you can see Shiv's got a super strong hairline here, so there's not really a very noticeable recession area. Obviously you're going to have this area here that's called the recession area, but it's not as clear where you're going to separate the top from the sides here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for his natural parting by just grooming the hair back like this, pushing it forward a little bit, and you can start to see it all split. So we can choose this one or anywhere around here. We'll do it a little bit more to the centre, so I'd say about here. And then that's going to show us the crown area at the back as well. So you can start to see where this is all naturally splitting. And from here, here's his crown in there, I'm just going to split to one recession. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. There seems to be a little bit of a parting in here. I'm going to go through to this recession. I'm going to groom the rest of this all forward. And this is the panel on the top that pretty safely had both panels of the curtains in, or both sides of the curtains. It's also high enough on the head where we've got all this space to keep it long enough to sit back the way. I'm just going to clip this out of the way. It's also sectioned off this whole panel here on the flat, literally as it starts rounding here too. This side you can see we maybe could go a tiny wee bit higher into here. And now we've got all this hair to work with to cut it so that it sits back. Right, so now we've got all this clipped up out of the way. We've got a bit of a kind of off centre, off kind of asymmetrical horseshoe section, using the crown as the starting point and also giving us enough length. So I've taken it a bit higher. You can see, especially on this side here, can see how these are really wanting to grow forward all the way up to there, so that's why I've taken it a bit higher on this side, just to give myself a little bit more room to create the amount of length that we're going to need to sit back. And start on this other side though. So we're going to do a round graduation. So the shape of the scissor work should be pretty much a triangle coming all the way out, all the way around the head, but horizontally it's going to follow the shape round. So like that and like this. We're going to start with pretty much a square line on the flat of the head, right down here at the temple where the clipper work is going to join into the scissor work. So I'll tell you there, bro. So you can see this has already kind of been a similar haircut before. You can see where it's jumping up, so I'm going to take our first section straight through here. And you can see all this area is going to be really fiddly to work with, because as soon as you comb it, it's going to try and start springing forward. So I'm going to scoop in, and we're going to even all this out. See, I'm barely taking anything off here. And we're going to come straight down to the ear. Now, as the head is rounding slightly up here, we're going to be directing slightly down, just a tiny little bit. But we still want to be coming straight out from the head, at the root. There's our guide under there. And then underneath where the head's flat, we're scooping under again, because we don't want to create any graduation on the flat bit. And down here. Now up here, this is where we're going to start needing to build the most weight, so we're going to pull this right down. Cut this bit. Stops about here. And then under here again, I'm going to scoot back under. I'm going to come more straight out again. You can see it's just at that length where it's still trying to spring, but it's got enough length to blow dry it back. Direct it down. I'm controlling the hair with my other finger, scooping under to grab it all. Gonna direct it down. Same again. In behind the ear. We can clean all this up. Now you can comb it down and start to see this weight getting built up here that's going to sit back the way, and then all this extra length. Roasting.
It's quite long, yeah.
I'm roasting. So make sure you're soaking the hair. That's going to help you stick it back and control it while you're cutting it. So we're going to find where we were, here, and take a section. This one's going to go straight round to the back of the head. This one's going to be directed down again. Looking for this guide. We're going to scoop under. Guide's under here. you can see there's quite a decent bit of length coming off the further down the section we're going, because that's actually where we need to lose the length. We actually need to keep a lot of this up here to build the weight. We can start using a small clip just to keep some of this out of the way. As we're working around the head, I'm going to be shuffling around now, because we're actually going to follow this round and keep pulling straight out from the head on base. And that means that we're going to follow the head shape round whilst maintaining this. Next section, working around the head. And we're pulling it pretty much all down here. Nice strong guide. And then I'm going to shuffle. I'm scooping up the old section into the new stuff here. There we go. You can see when I get to here the guide starts disappearing. It's because I need to work around the head and pull it out straight again. And there it is under there. This is going to be nice and short along this area here, where the occipital starts to round the head in a bit. But you've still got all this. So a lot of times people, including me, will often just bring all this back here, and then you start building a corner here and a triangle. But with round graduation, we want it to hug the head more, so even though we want to build the weight here, it has to be consistent all the way around. We don't want to be building it to a corner where we have that triangle here with this haircut. We want these ones to be longer than these ones, so they reach out, but we don't want to build any extra weight or any extra corners here. We want this to be fluid around the head, so even though I'm directing these down to create this kind of shape here, which is triangular, we're going to follow the head round, so the triangle is getting directed this way. So when we get to here, straight out, guide here, shuffle again, pull this down, pulling it down but straight, find the guide under there, and then here, same here, guide should be there. Oops. So here, this is where often people would bring it back to here, and look, these ones are coming out almost like we were going to do it square, but we want them coming out this way. You can see our guide as well. When we follow the head shape round, it's here. When we follow it to here, look, it starts disappearing because the guide is following the head as well. So if we come back to here, there we go. But because we're directing this down, we're still building the weight. And this should mean that even this way, when we check it, we have this triangle all the way round from short to long. It's letting us keep all this stuff that we'll need to blow dry back. And when we comb it down, look, we can see all this weight that we're building up. See, this is starting to cross over onto the other side now. So we find the guide. There we go. And probably the last section on this side. And this should be getting pulled straight out here. So here. Here. We'll get most of this other stuff when we come round again. So here we have all the weight built, nice little band of weight, and we should have a triangular shape again. Yep. Yep. So I'm just going to separate this tiny little bit here because this looks like it's going to be part of the actual hairline in there. Same here. A lot of these are already short. But we're pretty much just going to repeat the same process just on the other side. So you can even see around here, I've not cut any of this and it already kind of wants to ping out. So we have to cut it symmetrically to the other side, but we just need to be careful of this. So, to be honest, we probably could have started on this side, but we've made our bed now, but... So we're going to do the same again, flat square cutting line. Not much to come off, that's me tight against the head here. We're just going to even this out. I'm going to start using this clip a whole lot earlier here because it seems to be like it's going to be a lot more fiddly. You can see all the changes in length straight away. So really long ones around the ears here. Goes short again. And then, yeah. So remember, we want to be coming straight out. It's very easy to see that as straight out because it's coming straight down because of the bend of the hairs, but it needs to be coming straight out from the head. And then the fact we're pulling it down is going to create that graduation. Still some back there. So start at the top half of the section, directing it down and straight out. Find our guide. There we go. I'm going to check this on the other side just so that I'm not keeping too much length, just so it's even on each side. And then we're just going to bring these sections down. Tiny little bit longer on this side. Yep. So. Just take this tiny little bit extra. We're just doing the same thing, but you're always having to remember to angle out this way instead of this way. I'm going to do another section, and I'm going to recheck the length on the other compared to the other side before we move past into the back. So this one's going to come all the way down into the back there. Clip this up, and then up here, we're back on the round. You can see this gap start to come behind the comb. This is how we know the head's rounding away. Gonna pull this down again. And then this should tie in with a short length right at the bottom again. Perfect. Back to the front. I'm going to look for the 2 points. There we go. Now remember as well, this is higher up than this side. So this on this side would actually be hair up here. So we need to check from underneath it. Yeah. This might sound like it's not a good idea doing this, but once the curtains are cut in and it's connected, it's all going to flow back anyway. You can see these two lengths start joining together. Just going to cross through to the back now. And now we're on to the actual crown. So this is the area that we needed to make sure the most length was kept on. Or make sure that the weight was getting built on this area anyway, to keep that length, I should say. So now we're going to be directing it down. And remember, you're doing the same on this side as you are the other side and shuffling around. I personally find it a bit harder to keep your angle correct on this side because you've swapped the angle of your fingers, but just make sure you're always paying attention to the roots, and the roots are always just coming out from the head. Find your guide. Make sure you're just pulling it to the correct area, working your way around. And we'll just do a quick cross check. So if I comb it down, you can see this weight getting built up again, which is good. It's following the bone structure here. And then let's just make sure it's triangular as well. Make sure we don't have any mistakes that we need to correct before we move on. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Bring that down. Now we're onto the parts of the head we've already cut, so you can see there's just that bit there. maybe a little bit from up here. And look, we've not got that corner that we usually see getting built up. It's just round all the way round. But if I comb this down, you can still see all the weight right along the bone, dipping down there. Same on this side. You can see it a bit easier on this side, just the way the hair is sitting. And that's our graduation. That's all the stuff that's going to be slicking back. And we've got all this shorter hair underneath to do some clipper work on. Right, for the top, we're going to do pretty much the same as what you do on most of your clients. We're just going to do a profile guide, straight down the middle. We're just going to layer the top. Oops. Is that in the middle? Yeah. So, to fully connect it, we can take a bit of a guide from the back here. You can see where this hair is going to fall to. So, as long as it's falling down here where we built that weight line, that's going to be fine. And we're going to connect it to the sides as well. But we're going to connect it at where the natural parting is, just to join the curtains onto the side pad or the side graduation that we've just cut. And we're just going to do it just square on the top. There we go. We'll do some horizontal sections after. His head doesn't actually dip too much at the front here, so we don't actually have to worry about following it round too much if you were doing a round shape, or pulling it up too much or directing it back. We can literally just follow this guide the whole time and it's going to be square. There we go. And do the same, split your profile guide onto the other side. And you just follow the guide exactly the same on the second side. we comb all this back now, you can see it's actually starting to look a bit more connected anyway. But what we'll do is we'll just make sure, like, you can see it naturally falling into a pattern as well, so I think you're always better working with what's actually there, because his hair is going to naturally style itself anyway if you use that pattern. There we go. And then we can just connect this. Remember, I've done the profile guide to layer it so it's even, and the natural pattern's off center. So don't get confused with those two different things. We'll take a section and we'll just see how much of a disconnection we have. So yeah, we could remove all of this, but then we're going to be losing about that from the fringe, so we probably don't want to actually lose that much. So clip this out the way, and sometimes if you're trying to connect something a little bit but not fully, you can kind of just eyeball it a little bit. So I'm going to start at the back where there's going to be an actual connection. So it's going to be connected here, and I'm just going to move away from the graduation the further to the front we get and have it a little bit more disconnected, because we don't want to lose that much length. So I'm just going to point cut it in, and then I'm just going to angle out a little bit. This is going to visually connect it, but only half of it's actually fully connected. We'll dry it and we'll see if it actually could do with being connected more. I always like playing it safe though. And yeah, we move a panel up, it's barely even anything coming off now. Yep, there we go. And that should actually be fine. All this length still sits back. We'll just see what's going on the other side as well. It's a smaller panel, so we're only really connecting this bit back here. And then we'll start moving away from that guide. Right, so I'm going to put a bit of paste in this as well. I'm going to put in when it's damp, not too much. This is kind of sticky. It's not as light as the cream and it's not as heavy as the clay, but it's a little bit stickier than both. So this is going to help add weight and kind of stickiness to the graduation, so that when we blow dry it back, all the hair kind of fans out and sits back no problem, and the extra weight's just going to help it kind of beat those growth patterns where it's trying to ping forward. But also, it should actually be quite a natural product to dry the curls into the top as well, or into the curtains anyway. So just get through all the roots all the way to the ends of the hair. Make sure we're covering it all. Right, so medium heat, high power. We're going to dry out as much of the moisture from the hair as we can, and then we're going to start using the brush. So I'm going to start around the crown area and just get my hands through there, all the way to the curtains as well. I'm just going to try and get as much of that saturation down as we can. This is going to help me as well, like keep the parting in the right place. Because if I dry these bits over there, then I can just blast the rest of it back without messing up where the parting's trying to sit. Maybe come on this side here. So I'm going to tilt its head back. I'm just going to follow the brush back. Right, so I've clipped this up and out of the way, and you can kind of see how the shape of the head is going to go in the way and back out and where we've built this weight, so we just need to be careful about how much of this we're clippering. But we have actually quite good guidelines on where we want all these different points of the fade to be anyway, just from him getting his hair cut before. So we're going to do our clipper work here, and it's probably just going to follow the same kind of shape around there. So we're going to go in with our 2 and just slightly fan into this length here. Not really too much is coming off, just where we done that first kind of section to start it off. We don't want to go too high and create like a total wedge that we need to scissor over comb or clipper away. You can start to see it just starting to build up there. Take a little bit off there. There we go. Just going to use the 2 and go with the grain on the beard and just flick off any long bits. Beard length's actually not too bad, so we can probably fade into this and just get a nice shape up around the edge of it. I'm going to do a skin line. I'm not going to go high with the skin line here because we've not got much room above here to fade out, so I'm going to try and give myself about 2 fingers width. We can actually go lower into the beard, then we can go higher into the taper on this trim. And I think just while we're here, we'll clean up this so we can foil it all. We'll do the same on this side. You can actually see this side is way more reactive, like we talked about at the start. So we just got to be mega careful around here. You can kind of use your clipper just to lift some of these away. Clipper and overcomb with a long guard just so you're super safe on how much you're taking off. but I just find it helpful just to take away some extra length from the scissor work we don't need, so we can get our clipper work in. Same again. Just going to follow that natural shape around the back of the beard. And then we'll do the back. I'm doing it all in one go just because there's a lot of hair around here to foil, so we may as well foil it all at the same time. So we're going to brush our graduation back, see where it's sitting. There's bones about here, so we don't want to go any higher than that, so we've got to here and up to there for clipper work. So two again. You can almost use this as like a natural ramp to kind of come off and off, or up and off. And you can just scissor overcomb any of these messy bits. Let's get rid of some of this. Foils. Little circles. Coming down the way to bring the length as short as possible, then back up the way in little circles to stop leaving a line, just stopping underneath the skin line. Kind of flicking off a little bit as well. Right, so I'm going to use our old school 1 guard, open to 1.5. We're just going to flick into this weight here. This is quite a hard fade to do because of the way it divots in here, so we're trying to get in and under it without going too deep in that we create like a big wedge here. So I think a lot of that will need to be just touched up with scissor over comb for this trim, and we'll just need to aim on getting this super clean. So we're just going to descend through the guards. I'll take all this down as well while we're at it. We'll do both fades at the same time. I'm just going to merge these two lengths together, close to the one. You can hear it just touching some of the length off of this weight, but not digging under and taking it all away. It just smooths the kind of lighter hairs into the darker hairs a bit more. And then we'll come up here with a 1. Keep going till you can't really hear anything getting cut anymore. And we'll do the 1 up here. You see I'm like pushing in and then under the hairs and flicking out in quite a tight space. What's up, Alex?
Yo.
Grab a seat, bro. We're just talking through this. We won't be long. Yeah, so you can see this is where we're going to need to refine it. We'll go down to 1.5, or just half, I should say. And the amount of an area that we're flicking into is getting smaller and smaller, and the flick's getting more exaggerated the shorter we're getting. Close down to 0. I'm using my finger to stop his skin moving like this. Use the teeth just to pick any darker spots above it. Remember, a lot of this is colour matching. It's not about what exact guard and length you're using at the exact time, it's all about being able to, by eye, go between the lengths to pick away any darker areas and match them all together. We can use our trimmers just to knock away any last little bits. Then we can just shape up through here. You can see we start hitting some longer hairs there, so just on the edge we can get rid of some of this. That's just going to give us some shorter ones just along the edge of the hairline just to shape up without eating too far into it. So we're not trying to take these right into the hairline here either, we're just trying to merge between the shape up and then the longer hairs just above without creating like a big gap around it. So once you've got the kind of tighter hairs shaped up, you can brush it all. And then if you've got any longer ones that kind of hang over, I like to go like with the grain and just slowly touch some of those longer ones away. And it just gives you a nicer kind of shape up without having to eat right into the hairline. And then we can do this back bit once it's tapered. Right, scissor overcomb this. So we're just going to gently join these two lengths together. Use the fine side just to take a bit tighter on these shorter lengths. There we go. I think any more and it's going to create too much of a wedge under there. So I'll just touch this up. So, going to repeat the other side. Just quickly flow through the same steps. Excuse me. That's not sore there if I go on that spot, is it?
No, you're good.
That's good, I don't want to be fucking tearing your shit up. And see here, I'm just using the tips of my scissors as well. Just be careful of the ear as well. And just I'm picking the spot that I'm going to before I go in. And then I'm aiming for it with the scissors. This isn't like I'm trying to get all of this. This is just, it's colour matching like with the clippers. Tilt them down. Just a wee girl outside fucking watching. See how I'm doing this bit first in this area, because this is the area you need to be the most careful of going into the hairline, because it grows out the fastest and you can see it. So we've got a tiny bit in here. And now we can dictate where this is going to go to meet that part. Sweet. I'll do the back. So, I'm just going to tidy up this area first, just so that we can blend into it a bit more smoothly. And we're going to do the same process, 1.5 all the way down to 0. So you can kind of go side to side on the back as well. 1.5 all the way into the 2. I'll tilt you a tiny bit like that though. Perfect. Remember, this is all the stuff that's going to get shaped up too. Down to the 1. Swap to the brush from the 0.5. Close it a little bit. And see, because we've actually managed to go all the way up here, I'm at like the 0.25. And look, I still have like a finger of room to get rid of this 0. And I've not used a 1.5 guard or a 0.5 guard yet either. And look how clean we can get this to start looking. So we can get the 1.5 guard here, and just slowly use the longer length, the shorter 2, to work into that 2. Just to lighten up that tiny little bit. But you can see we've done most of the work with the scissors earlier. We just add a tiny bit around there. Let's find our area to trim this still. And do the same on the other side. Oops. Just give you a good before and after photo. 1.5. See, I'm flicking pretty fast, guys. You want to be using conviction with your fade, and I say it every time I'm showing a fade or a taper. You don't want to be, you want to push through the hair quickly. If you've got a nice powerful clipper, it's not going to get stuck and jammed, it's going to glide through it, and it's going to help you create that quick flick that blends the lengths and the guards together. You're pushing with your wrist, and you're also making this motion with your fingers as well. You start learning as well, like, where you can go into higher lengths just by changing the pressure without actually changing the guard. So like here I'm pressing pretty hard with a 1.5, but I'm flicking harshly out into that 2. Then I can go with a 1, pressing hard here to take all that length down, but I can lighten the pressure and glide across the 1.5 up here, just blending the 2 lengths together. So it's like hard pressure, light pressure, before I've even had to change guard or anything. And then 0.5 again, right up to the 1. Same here, I'm against the skin the whole way along here, and then only flicking out just as I get up to where the 1 was. Then we do the 0. And then come back to the middle, and all we've got to do is just join those 2 sides together. They should pretty much be the same. And now we can start using like a 0.5 guard just to be a bit more careful when we're merging both sides of the blend together. We also can push a little bit higher up in the middle. So using a longer guard at like the 0.5 and opening it up to like a shorter one is always good to play it safe a bit. Just so you're consistently blending it all the way through. If you need to drop the guards down after, you can always do that. Last little bit of this. And we'll find this point again. Maybe want to swap sides onto there. Got a little bit of extra length here. Get rid of this. And we've got a Nice clean way through for this shape up. And just take your time with this as well. Like every time you comb this, it's probably going to change a little bit when you're on longer hair, so just cut it a little bit, comb it, check it. It's not the same as on short hair where you can see exactly what you're doing first time. With longer hair, like there will be little hairs in there that you might have missed, or that maybe have too much length, or on the other side they're sitting different from the first side you've done, vice versa. So just little minor adjustments as you go. Sweet, there we go. I gave the beard a little shape up there, got underneath, done the cheeks with a razor, and here was the finished cut. Nice and long to sit back the way, keep the curtains nice and messy, nice and sharp with the taper all the way around. There we go. Yeah, that'd be cool. Right guys, there we go. Thank you for watching. If you have any more tutorials that you want to see, just comment them down below and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.